Welcome back to our Developer Basics course. We will start digging deeper into Nuxeo platform to understand it more fully. Our first goal will be to set up the foundations for a contract management service that will be used by Big Corp to execute contract-related business logic. If you're in a hurry and don't need to understand the whole process, click on the link currently appearing on the screen to see how to use a handy Nuxeo service generator. Otherwise, we will create it manually through test-driven development. As the name suggests, in test-driven development, everything starts by creating a unit test. Nuxeo platform integrates JUnit4 for that purpose. In your project, go to the src/test/java folder and create a new class. We'll name it Test Contract Management. When creating a service, it needs to be declared by using a component. This component should then be referenced in the bundle's manifest so that the Nuxeo runtime can find it and deploy it during startup. Our goal in this test class will be to validate the component's existence. A prerequisite of this is ensuring the Nuxeo runtime is available, so we will add a isNuxeoStarted method in our class to check that. Make sure to annotate it with @test so that JUnit recognizes it. In its body, we will call the Nuxeo runtime using framework.getRuntime and place it into JUnit's assertNotNull method along with a custom error message. If we try to run the unit test by right-clicking on the class and choosing Run as JUnit test, the test will fail. Let me explain to you why. A golden rule when unit testing your code is that you should be able to get the same behavior no matter how many times the test is launched. That's the reason why tests are executed in a sandboxed environment in Nuxeo Platform. When you launch a test suite, we will create a Nuxeo Platform instance, execute the tests into it, then destroy it. To improve testing speed, this sandbox instance only contains what you ask for, which means you need to specify which bundles should be deployed when creating it. The test failed because we didn't deploy any bundle. To deploy the bundles you need, add the following before your class declaration: @runWith featuresRunner.class. Then you can use the @deploy annotation to deploy a bundle or a bundle's list using their symbolic names. We'll see that later, because instead of specifying each bundle needed to run your test, you should rather reference a feature class. Feature classes already contain a predefined list of bundles to deploy, so you can avoid repeating yourself. Many are provided by default, corresponding to various Nuxeo platform code layers. From now on, we will use the runtime feature class that contains the basic Nuxeo platform bundles needed to make our tests run by adding the @featureRuntimeFeature.class annotation. Note that you may still use the @deploy annotation when you need to deploy specific bundles on top of the feature. We'll remove it for now, as it's not the case here. Let's run the test again. This time it passes, and we can move to the next step. Now that we have the Nuxeo runtime to deploy our components, we need to check the component's existence. So we will add a new test method named isComponentLoaded. We will place the Nuxeo runtime as a runtime variable in its body. Then ask the Nuxeo runtime to load the service's component. The runtime's getComponent method will be what we need here. We will pass our service's component name to it. Note that the component name can be anything you want, as long as it remains unique. It is a good practice to use your company's DNS name and the project name as a prefix to ensure that. Now we will assert that the component is properly loaded by using JUnit's assertNotNull method again. Since we need to load a component coming from our bundle, we should deploy the bundle in our test as well. We'll check the bundle's ID by going into its manifest file. It is located in the src/main/resources/meta-inf folder. Edit the manifest.mf file and look for the bundle's symbolic name. That's what you need to copy. Do not mistake it for the bundle's name. This one is just there for informative purposes. Back to our test, we'll add the corresponding @deploy annotation, and we'll be good to go. Obviously, running the test will fail as the component does not exist yet, so let's create it. We will place our XML extensions in the src/main/resources/osgi-inf folder to follow the Nuxeo platform convention. If you prefer, you're free to place them differently. Let's create the service component. Components are XML files, so that's what we'll choose here. For clarity, we usually choose the same name for the component name and the file name, but only the file's content actually matters. We'll use autocomplete to add the XML declaration into it. Then we'll add a component tag containing a name property. This time make sure the name is the same as the one used in the unit test. Then you can save. Let's run the test again. And it fails. Our mistake is that although the component exists, it has to be referenced by the bundle's manifest so that the Nuxeo runtime can find it at startup. Let's go back to the manifest file. We'll edit it and reference our component's path starting from the resources folder in the Nuxeo component field, then save. Let's try running the test one more time. And this time the test passes. And so we are ready to create the service. Before that, we'll sum up what we did. We created a component in the resources folder and gave it a name. This component is referenced into the bundle's manifest file. Then we used the Nuxeo runtime to test that the component is loaded properly. Now we will move on to creating and calling the service. We'll do that in our next video.